the main difference between the creators who are successful and those who are about to be successful is only one skill, and that's the ability to say compelling stories. Now, why is this skill so important? Because this helps you connect with your audience so that they feel noticed, they feel you are talking about them. And I am saying this out of experience. In the last 5 years, I have been doing only one thing, YouTube. So I have worked with numerous YouTubers as an editor, as a script writer, and I have observed what they focus on. And I can guarantee you, from the top of the line YouTubers, all of them are master storytellers. And in this video, I am going to share with you how we can master this skill or use it in our videos without spending thousands of hours just reading J.K. Rowling or Tolkien's. When we talk about storytelling on YouTube, we actually do it to perform something known as story selling. If you read any of the famous books like Psychology of Money or Think and Grow Rich or .com Secrets or $100 million leads, this is by Alex Hormozy. So if you read any of the famous books in our domain, you will see that all of these books are using stories to get their point across. And this is because when you read a story, you are getting instant proof that okay, this thing is going to work because it worked like this for this person. And that's what we are going to leverage in this story selling format. Now, you have used this knowingly or unknowingly in your successful videos, but what I'm going to share is how I, as an editor, as a script writer, how I use this in my scripts, in my videos, to help my clients deliver their message in a very compelling way so that the audience retention is high. So when you are trying to tell a story on YouTube, broadly we have two ways to do this. One, by the script, and two, by editing. Now I am trying to keep this as simple as possible and as easy as possible so that it's like plug and play for you, and you don't have to spend hours reading stuff, or you don't have to lose your mind behind mastering all this stuff. No, this is going to be really simple for you. So first, let's start with the script. How are we going to incorporate storytelling in our scripts? Now you might say we are already telling stories through our scripts, but we are going to take it up a notch and find out the best scripting technique to get our stories across. So when it comes to scripting, it's broadly divided into these three parts. The first 30 seconds of the video is hook, then we have the body of the video, and then we have the CTO. Now you will ask me, we are telling a story through the video, what's new in this? The part which is new is what are we going to do in the body section. The hook is basically I have talked about this 100 times. So the plan, promise, and proof directly in the first 30 seconds, done, and then we go into the body. In this body, we have to blend in our story. So let's imagine we have this point, which is basically the actionable step or the conclusion. But instead of directly listing them or just pointing them out, what we are going to do is we are going to use a client story or any story which is relevant, which you have experienced. We need to be real right here. We cannot be fake. So any story experience which concludes this action. Why? Because instantly this is giving me the proof of how this looks in action or how I can use it. Otherwise, it's just pointers. If I say make your thumbnails interesting, or just if I just give you points like make your thumbnails contrasty, it's not clear enough. It's correct but not clear enough. Is it actionable? No. Or it's actionable actually, but it's not clear, it's not applicable. But instead of this, if I tell you a story, like one of my clients, when they shoot a video, they take one of the props or they take one of the things that's relevant to the video, they put it up like this and they click a photo and they use it as a thumbnail. Then it's actionable for you, and I give you the results like this got like 4.2 CTR or whatever it is, but this is actionable for you. You at least have a direction that okay, I can start right here and then we'll go from there. If it doesn't work, we'll drop the prop and we'll see. You have things to play with, you have things to experiment. So having a story experience or client story, anything to show which concludes to this action, that's very important. This is the difference between a good and an average script. The stories that take you from one point to another. The same thing as you'll see in Psychology of Money or .com Secrets or any other books. They tell a story, they conclude it. What you need to do is at the end of the story, what did the main character do? And that will always keep your viewers hooked. They'll want to get more of it. So when it comes to the body of the video, how do we incorporate stories? What we'll do is we'll share a client story or an experience, and we'll draw a conclusion of this experience. And the action plan or the steps will be based on this conclusion. So what this is doing, this is instantly showing your audience that you have this story which gave you this lesson, and based on this lesson you are taking this action. They can see this in action in real time. And what this is going to do, this is also going to establish you as an authority. So someone who knows what they're doing, someone who has worked with people, someone who had real life experiences, they are not just winging it, they have worked on it. And if you want to know the back end of this, what happens is when you are telling a story, stories are always a series of highs and lows. So it's like a stake then payoff, stake then payoff. So once we have our scripting figured out, we are going to look at editing. And I have always been a fan of minimal edits because your audience can only focus on so many things. They cannot focus on everything on screen, so it will look like a hot mess. We should totally avoid this. We are going to use a trick, and by top storytellers I don't mean Alex Hormozy or Gary Vee or even J.K. Rowling for that matter. I'm talking about great screenplay writers. So if you have watched any good film, you might have noticed this, and this principle is called show don't tell. So my point is, rather than saying and explaining, it's better to show them. Now when we are talking about this principle, it means we will have to go a tad bit further and we have to shoot some B-rolls on our own. Now you can always use stock B-rolls from Pexels or Adobe Stock, but I will always prefer your own B-rolls. So whenever anyone talks about editing, our inherent thought is Mr. Beast. But you don't need to be Mr. Beast. All we need in this editing phase are texts, explainer images, and explainer B-rolls. These are all we need. This can be a bit confusing, so I'm breaking it down a bit for you. Now, what I mean by text is our chapter names. Okay, step 1, step 2, text like these. step 1, step 2. Now if you are a health channel, step 1 can be lift weight, step 2 can be eat healthy. If you are a finance channel, step 1 will be save, step 2 will be invest, things like this. So texts are just to highlight important points, mainly to guide your viewers. Now other than these steps, what else can you do? You can help your viewers point out where they are in the story. So some kind of text just to point out what are you talking about. It can be right here, it can be down here or here, anywhere. Just a bit of chapter marker can be there. Or whenever you are talking about lists, I think you should list them on the screen like this, on the side of the screen. And the idea is not to make it look fancy, the idea is to make it look readable. We have to make it look readable to the viewers. So all in all, just important words, just lists, then chapter markers. These are all you will need. And they don't necessarily need to be step 1, step 2. They can just be eat healthy, lift weight, stuff like these. Another important thing I like to use is using two fonts. Now a lot of creators, what they do is they don't use any specific kind of fonts. They are all over the place when it comes to fonts. But the main concept is, when you are choosing your font, then you should use just one font. But in this case, I just use another font which is like my secondary font. So these are to highlight words. Or I use two colors, mainly white, and the other can be red or green, just to highlight for the important words. If I am writing the whole sentence, I need to highlight this word so that I can guide their eye to this word. But with this, I don't want to overwhelm you, or I don't want to overdo this. I just explained this highlighting thing so that you can use it in some parts of your video when you have to add like one line or more than 3-4 words. So your viewer needs to know what's the important thing, what's the keyword in here. That's the main thing. You'll see this kind of chapter markers in Alex Hormoz's video, where he has it written over here and the box keeps filling. And this is the part everyone tries to overdo. You don't need to overdo this. B-rolls can be of stuff that you are trying to show. It's easier to show than to explain. Use a B-roll. And there's no easy way to explain this. I can give you stories, nothing more than that. Like if you're talking about eating unhealthy, show someone eating unhealthy. Let's say if you are trying to discourage people from eating outside, then figure out what are their fears. Like they don't want to be bulky. So when you are showing someone who is eating out, or who is eating unhealthy, choose that B-roll of that person who is a bit bulky, so that it's kind of discouraging for your viewers. The only reason we use overlays or B-rolls is to guide our viewers. Now, what kind of overlays can you use? Overlay can be anything from text to graphics. What I mean by overlays are icons and descriptive graphics. If you are, let's say you are explaining a funnel, then you should have that graphic of the funnel, how it goes from this point to this point. Let's say you are demonstrating a scale pattern. So you are playing and showing it to the camera. That's good. But if you have a scale diagram right here, that will help your viewers even further. And if you don't believe on scale diagram, just give them the notes right here, or give them the staff notation somewhere, something to follow. It can be a tab down here where you are playing right here, and the tab can be right here, but something for them to follow. Choosing this right B-roll can make all the difference. That's why just honing in and figuring out 4 B-rolls that works is better than figuring out 10,000 B-rolls. It will be a big hot mess. You don't need to do that. Just figure out a few B-rolls that will help you make your point across. You don't need to worry about animations and everything. No, just clear videos and pictures which will help you demonstrate your point, and that's it. Like if I'm talking about an instrument, it's easy for me to show them how to hold a chord, and that's where we'll use stuff like zoom in, like close-ups and zoom-ins. Even if I'm talking about finger movement, like my left hand, right hand coordination, if I can show it right on the screen, then it will help me get my point across easier. 9 out of 10 times it's easier for me to just shoot it myself than to, search for the B-roll. But in a lot of cases you will not have that luxury. Like if you're talking about the Large Hadron Collider and you live in the US, then you'll have to take a flight to the Large Hadron Collider. That's not very practical. Instead, you can take a picture from the internet and you can show it to your audience. For example, if you are a health coach and if you are talking about fat molecules, how will you explain it to them without showing the diagram of that molecule? You can show the chemical composition, or you can just show the fat molecule, or you can show the results. If you're trying to scare your audience, you should show the result. So these are some of the foundational storytelling techniques that I have used throughout my career, and I will encourage you to use them as well. But if you want to learn how to edit your videos faster, then you should watch this video.